susceptible to keeping of the law. The law was not only given to a people, but to a land. Yet Israel did not keep the law, but to remember that Stephen, in his defense, said that they had received the law by the disposition of angels and have not kept it. Acts chapter 7 and verse 53. Peter calls it a yoke which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear. Acts chapter 15 and verse 10. Now, Paul will give an illustration that I think is one of uh, the great ones. Unfortunately, folks try to uh, sorry, folk try to draw from it rules for marriage and divorce. But Paul is not talking about marriage and divorce here. Rather, he is illustrated by a well established and stated law that a wife is bound to a living husband and that death frees her from the status of wife. Verse 2. For the women which hath an husband is bound by the law to her husband so long as he liveth. But if the husband be dead, he is loose from the law of her husband. A wife is bound to her husband as long as he lives. But when the husband dies, she is completely discharged from the law of her husband. In other words, if he is dead, she is no longer married to him. Verse 3. So then, if while her husband liveth she be married to another man, she shall be called an adulteress. But if her husband be dead, she is free from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she be married to another man. Now, Don Reese highlighted that verse uh, for your curiosity. Some folks insist that divorce and remarriage is not permitted under any circumstances according to this verse. We need to thoroughly understand the background. What would happen under the Mosaic law if a man and a woman were unfaithful in marriage? Now, it's not given here, but he, in the radio uh, broadcast, he reads Deuteronomy chapter 22 and verse 22. That should be easy to memorize, to remember the location. If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband, then they shall both of them die, both the man that layeth with a woman and the woman. So shalt thou put away evil from Israel. Suppose a woman is married to a man who is a philanderer, and he is unfaithful to her. What happens? He is stoned to death. When the old boy is lying under a pile of stones, she is free to marry another, of course. In our day, we cannot apply the Mosaic law. We can't stone to death the unfaithful. And Paul is not giving us instructions on divorce or remarriage here. He will do that elsewhere. The point Paul is making here is that when a woman's husband dies, she is no longer a wife. She is a single woman again. This is, I think, a universal principle among civilized people. There are heathen people who put the wife to death when the husband dies. In fact, his horse and a whole bunch of other stuff. But anyway, but civilized folk have never followed that practice. Paul goes on to amplify the law of husband and wife. He brings into sharp focus her status in the case that her husband is alive, and again in the case that the husband